Hello, we're live. This is Attorney Vince Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Darren Guy from Maine. Hey, Darren, how are you?
We're doing well this evening, Mr. Davis. How about yourself?
Doing good. What's going on today?
Well, I woke up this morning, and CPS was still taking kids.
You hear
So,
anything, any new news from Maine about what's going on?
well, they're talking up here about that Maine is the #1 state in the nation for child abuse and neglect.
In what way?
Well, so the national average for abuse and neglect is, I guess, 9.8 children per thousand are abused and neglected. Maine's not only leading that run, but they're saying that it's doubled up here to almost 19 kids per thousand are abused and neglected.
Now, is that CPS statistics or somebody else's statistic?
I think that is the actual Department of Health and Human Services statistic. 'Cause it's been all over the news. I can't tell you exactly, but you know me, I will give you the exact thing here in a second. But I mean, I kind of find that a little disturbing, to be perfectly honest.
Why?
I mean, you're going to compare this state of Maine, which they call vacation land and all of that stuff, to, let's say, a busy city. I mean, the biggest city we have here is Bangor, which you'll be attending here in the next month. And that's literally, 2.5 to 3 hours from the southern border of Maine, closer into Canada. It's actually kind of dead in the middle of the city. That's our biggest city. And, when you go look at the population base of California and, like you guys out there, you have LA, you have these cities that, Maine only has a city. I find it just very hard to believe that in the state of Maine that there's 20 kids or 19 children per 1,000 that are abused or neglected. Or is it that Maine is much more punishing on some of these and acting on these issues, but over, whoa, woo, what's that girl? What's her name?
I don't know. Who is that?
Don't be mean.
What is that woman?
I had a very rough weekend. I lost my phone.
Oh, the old lost my phone trick.
No, that's not a trick. That's an expensive trick nowadays.
Baby, where's your phone?
Did the dog eat it?
I wish I had a dog. No, I don't have a dog.
Oh,
no,
I would like to ask
not
you
Wait, what?
Well, me and Mr. Davis were just talking about some numbers here.
Yeah, we were just wondering. We were also wondering what happened to Deidre Payne.
Correct. See, my wife,
I'm alive.
Look at this. This phone right here, right? My wife just got it yesterday. She had spent 2 weeks fighting with the people. I took it to the store yesterday on my bike. It fell off the bike and a car drove over it. So I am in very much hot water right now about the phone conversations. So Deidre, if you broke your phone, let's see if it compares to this.
No, I didn't break it. I lost it. I lost it. Yes, meaning I have yet to even find where I lost it at, but that was a very expensive lose. No, I think I lost it at my work, but I don't know. The thing is I have the find your phone device thing on it. And even that thing was telling me that it was in a certain area. But then I was making myself go crazy because it kept saying I was in the area of where my phone was, but I couldn't find it. And it said it was pinging it, like making it ring, and I couldn't hear nothing. So I've yet to find where the phone is. But I had to wait for a new one to come in the mail.
Do you know that Tile makes these pretty cool sticker things now? That they stick to any device that you want, that you have. It's got a barcode on it. I was trying to open them up. I haven't opened these ones, but it's got a barcode specific to you on it. So if someone finds your device, all they have to do is scan your phone or whatever you put these stickers on, and it'll give all your information.
Is it like those AirTags?
Deidre, I was looking at the AARP magazine the other day. They have a device that goes around your neck and your phone goes on it, so you'll never lose it.
I haven't reached the AARP magazine age frame yet. But you know what? I've been going to the water park with my kids a lot lately, and that's what these people wear with their phones around their neck. These waterproof things.
I saw that.
Oh my God!
I was in the waiting room in an office. That's why I saw it. And you know what?
That's pretty intense.
I thought of you.
Oh, gee, thanks.
That's funny.
Oh man.
They have one also for glasses, right? Do you wear glasses?
I wear contacts. So, I wear glasses too, but my contacts are in right now.
Contacts too. They just hang them one on each side.
I haven't lost those. Knock on wood yet.
So everyone,
Deidre's your whole life's a blur.
In California. Hey, Deidre, I'm going to be in in Orange County in CPS court tomorrow morning, 8:30.
Oh, good luck.
You should get over there with a sign.
Yeah, I should pass out some flyers. Say he's in the courtroom. Everyone, get his autograph.
You should get out there with a sign that says "America loves Vince Davis."
Hey, that's kind of a good idea.
No, it's a really good idea.
Can I ask you a question real quick, Mr. Davis, in regards to my case, only because it happened today? Now that I think about it. No, but seriously, so, my youngest son is supposed to be, adopted if he hasn't already been adopted. But I got a call from a social worker this morning from Orange County, and he left a voicemail in reference to my youngest son, and he named his name. And he says that he wants to get more information about my husband, meaning the father. What do you think kind of information is it that he's going to be asking me?
I don't know. Probably more information to make sure that the adoption goes through smoothly.
I hope. Come on, you can cross your fingers, Deidre.
Why would I want to make the adoption go through more smoothly for them?
No, exactly.
Meaning, do I even want to return this phone call?
It could be anything. It could be any array of things.
I was thinking that maybe they wanted to ask like some medical type of questions, but then I'm thinking, why don't they just call the father then? Why are they calling me?
Do they have his number?
I'm sure they do, but I don't know. I just thought that was kind of weird.
Sure is.
The next Zoom seminar, CPS seminar, is Saturday, September 2nd at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. You guys
have you made the other one accessible to people, like they could pay for it?
Actually, I have to talk to Joyce about that. We got the video back, and but I don't think we've made it accessible. Hey, Joyce, is that video accessible for those that want to purchase it?
Grace.
Maybe you can tell me.
Grace?
Grace.
What did I say?
Joyce.
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 Oh, Lordy. Grace, that was a first, right?
Speaking of AARP
Oh, that was a good one. I thought maybe we had a new office person or something, Joyce.
Actually, I was just texting Joyce. She's one of the attorneys that works with me.
Oh, okay. Excuses.
We need to get this for Deidre. See, you could just put it on her forehead and we could scan her. Whenever she's lost, we can put her back where she's supposed to be.
Maybe I won't want to be found.
Hey, in your juvenile dependency CPS case, did you ever have a psychological evaluation?
Which one of us?
Either.
Wait, what did you ask?
Did you ever have a psychological evaluation in your CPS case?
No, but my husband did. And I think he flunked it royally.
I
think he thought he was going to answer questions certain ways to try and make it look better than what it was. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, you just probably screwed that one up.
Parenting, nothing. No parenting classes, no nothing.
I want to tell you something, because sometimes in our cases, when a person's going to have a psych eval, we talk to them and try to give them some orientation. But what the other day I found on Amazon? There are several books on how to take psychological evaluations in family law cases.
Yeah, Amazon needs to start paying you, by the way.
I know. I was an Amazon affiliate, and then I did something and I screwed something up, and they threw me out. But I got to get that straightened out.
So maybe we should stop saying that word, or what?
No, but I want people to know, if you got a 7:30 coming in.
Scribe also says the same thing. Scribe has a ton about taking psychological evaluations in family cases. I don't know if anybody knows Scribe, but
could you talk a little louder, closer to your microphone, and say that again?
Oh, sorry about that. Far away. I said Scribed actually has quite a bit of information too on psychological evaluations in family court situations.
You should go on Amazon and type in search boom, BOOM, microphone. That's what you need. You need a boom microphone.
What happened to your headset?
It's next to me, but I have this one right here. Watch, I'll switch.
You got new things every day, I swear.
Is that some type of tape I see on the end of that microphone?
I haven't even checked my emails, but did I get any emails over the weekend, Darren?
It's in the mail. Don't worry.
It's in the mail. No, I said emails, like as far as, this green background that I'm supposed to be using. Now we can't even hear Darren. We can't read lips, Darren.
What is that tape they tape you up with? Kidnappers tie
duct
your
tape?
head. Yeah, is that duct tape, Aaron? On that, Darren, on that microphone?
We can't hear Darren. Oh man.
I mentioned his sound, and he went from bad to worse.
Yeah, Darren, we can't hear you at all.
Oh, you know what? He's muted himself.
Oh, well, Darren.
That's
Unmute.
What we can't hear.
Unmute yourself, Darren.
I want to show you.
He's still muted.
I want to show you the microphone that I use.
Do you use that every time?
Yeah. It's on a little tripod that sits right next to my computer.
And that's the boom one?
How do I sound the audio?
Good.
So when you are looking at the YouTube videos for doing live streams, what's the most important thing? Video, audio, or lighting?
I would say audio.
It's audio.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
This microphone that I just showed you, you know how much it cost?
$50.
38.
200.
$38.
Oh.
$38.
Hey, that's pretty good. Oh, we're back. Punisher, we're back.
There we go. Here we are. We're back. Is that better? Do you like that sound better, Mr. Davison? Yes, this is duct tape right here. That's so I can find it.
Darren, how are we going to bring you into the big time? I mean, Netflix isn't going to ask us anymore for our videos if you are showing us duct tape.
Oh, man.
Well, you weren't supposed to notice the duct tape. First of all, it's supposed to look like a nice piece of imagery. You hit it right on the head. I didn't know people in California knew what duct tape was.
Did you know that these shows are all streamed on
8 different platforms?
Do you know
Amazon, Roku? Did you know that?
I do. I do. Did you notice? So I use TubeBuddy. You use TubeBuddy?
I use the other one.
So our shows in the past 2 weeks have increased tremendously in viewership and people watching, like by a large amount. But here's the thing: like I have like 1,500 followers. I know it's not a lot, but it's plenty on TikTok. We need to get you a TikTok.
Who?
Did you know that I post on TikTok?
Well,
I don't even have a TikTok.
I always hashtag you on my videos. So have you been noticing an increase in people looking at your stuff?
No, I don't usually watch that. Can you hear him, Deidre, or is it just me?
Yeah, I can hear him.
How about this? Is that better for you? Do you like
yeah.
that?
Like what'd you do?
Oh yeah.
I just changed the setting on it instead of going
Oh Lordy.
What do they call that when you look at you talk to the microphone? Either it can pick up the whole
directional
direction. Yes. So instead of picking up that, I did the straightforward thing. So
wait, what's TubeBuddy or whatever you said it was?
Oh, so TubeBuddy analyzes like right now. I bet you. Oh, because I'm not on YouTube with us. But if I put us on YouTube over here, it would tell me all the different places that are watching, the amount of people that are watching us currently. But it also allows you to tell you the stats that go on. Like we have a ton of the review. We have a lot of review hits, a lot of reviews.
I live in New Mexico and fighting for my sister. I've asked for supervised visits, and they still won't let me see my sister.
Oh man. Mr. Davis was just saying the other day that the sister and brothers are the most important part of this whole situation, right?
Well, I mean, I was just repeating a study that I read, and that study said, the parental bond you have with your child, parent and child is important, obviously, but they're finding out that the sibling bond may be more important.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, CPS cases, you go to court and you're the kid, and you leave court, minus a brother or two. Forget the parents,
Right.
And then you lose your parents and you lose the brother and sister.
Right. And you didn't even do anything wrong.
Right. What a great system that is, huh?
Yes, this sounds perfect. Wow. Let's sign it in. Yeah. Because that kid's never going to know the difference between right and wrong.
I wonder
nor will they want to be right or wrong.
I wonder who thought of that whole scheme. Like, who thought of that? How could that possibly be in the best interest of a child?
Do you fight that a lot? Do you use that?
No, it doesn't mean anything. Nobody cares about that. I'm just saying, I'm taking a step back and looking at these cases. You're a kid. They file a case against your parents. You lose your parents and you lose your brother and sister.
That's exactly what happened to my youngest. And he wasn't even born when my case opened, but yet he's the one that we lost, basically.
I don't see how by any stretch of the imagination we can say that is best for the child.
Exactly.
I don't see. Now, everybody has their own opinion, right? We have Trump supporters. We have Biden supporters. All right. But I bet the majority of people, Republican or Democrat, would say, you know what? You got a good point there.
I think that's why they don't do jury trials.
That might be right. Although I talked to someone from Oklahoma, we had somebody on the show, and they had the right to have a jury trial, and they were talked out of it by their lawyer. Mm-hmm. And I've heard that many times from people in Oklahoma. Oh, my lawyer said it would be better to have a judge trial. No, it wouldn't.
I mean, I understood the argument that our guest had was that you had to convince one person over 12, but there's no kin in no people in your surrounding. Because am I right about saying that a jury is supposed to be like your peers, right, Mr. Davis? Like it wasn't supposed to be a bunch of random people. It was supposed to be like people from your town, and things that people that were almost aware of you or knew you, right?
Well, originally I think it was people from your community. But what happened with the Industrial Revolution is, these big mega cities started popping up. New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. So, I mean, you get somebody from your county, like I'm in LA County, there's like 10 or 12 million people here. How are you going to get a jury of your peers, right? They take jurors randomly from all over the county. You could have people from, Beverly Hills to South Central Los Angeles to Santa Monica to, Pomona. I mean, those are all different communities.
So that system is already.
Have you ever seen a jury trial that actually went in favor of like the parent?
Well, first of all, we don't have jury trials in California.
Well, yeah, but have you ever heard of a story from a state that does have it, that it actually was, I guess, successful
Because
in?
it's so rare to happen, because in states where they do have it, I think somebody told me there are 5 or 6 states that allow it. You get talked out of it by your court-appointed attorney. To do a jury trial, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You know, it's 12 times the work of just doing a judge trial. Because in the judge trial, you only have to convince one person, the judge. In a jury trial, you got to convince or try to convince 12 people. By the way, that's no easy task, right? But since the county has the burden of proof, just by statistical mathematics, I think you have a better shot with a jury trial, because it's going to be hard for that DA or that prosecutor to convince, 12 people, or 10 out of 12, or 9 out of 12, whatever they require in that particular state. So anyway, let's get to some CPS stuff. Deidre,
We didn't have a guest tonight.
We can what?
No guest tonight. We didn't have a guest tonight.
We had 2 guests.
Oh.
From Tennessee, and Grace texted me, and it was a parent and the parent's advocate.
Oh.
And I said, well, I only want one of them on at a time, so let's do the parent, and then let's do the advocate in the second half of the show, and we'll talk about the case and what the advocate does and blah, blah, blah from Tennessee. And apparently they hung up on Grace.
Oh.
Never to call back, I guess.
Well, that's not as bad as that one that was threatening Grace that was supposed to come on my show. Did you hear about that one?
No, what happened?
I was supposed to have this one guest scheduled for my show like 2 times, and so this was the second time, and I guess she was having internet problems again, and so Grace had simply texted her stating, well, if you're having internet problems, then you're having internet problems and you can't do the show, I guess. And this person just took it complete to left field and was cussing her out and threatening her and saying that she will follow through and this is a promise, and oh my god, it was crazy, all because Grace just simply said, well, if you're having internet problems, you can't do the show. And so I responded back to Grace and said, well, maybe that's a good thing that she didn't come on the show if that was her mentality.
Maybe we now know the reason why she doesn't have her kid.
Yeah, that's what I also said. I said, unfortunately, in situations like that, you would hate to admit, but those are the kind of situations that maybe the children do need to be removed.
Okay, Crystal says they are finally investigating CPS in North Carolina in my county, but I don't think much will come of it. 3 children died recently here, and it comes out of that they had case plans, but nobody checked up on it. But kids removed and could have been with their families are fine forever. Yeah, that's Crystal. You're absolutely right. We remove these kids from marginally risky homes in a lot of cases, and they get put in foster homes where they're abused, and nobody likes to talk about that. Nobody. You don't hear on the news, though, when kids get abused in foster homes. You usually don't hear about it.
Well, there's
you hear about, well, the kid was killed by the parent, and CPS refused to move or didn't remove the kid from the parent. But you don't hear that story, well, the kid was removed, placed in a foster home, and then abused or killed, by another foster child or, a foster parent. You don't hear about those stories.
No. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of competition. Yeah. There's a lot of competitiveness. I've talked to a lot of these foster kids have called me up, and we've done some podcasts together. And the number one issue that they have is the competition, number one, between a foster child and someone else's birth child. It's that, and then there's a lot of the spitefulness that goes on, like, do something wrong, blame it on the foster kid. The parents, we don't want this type of kid, it's this, so there's a lot of this pointing and blaming that goes on, because as much as these people try, they can't be in love with these kids 100%. It just can't happen.
Right, because they're not their kids.
Correct.
right? And look, we're simple, animals on a planet, and there's certain truths about our personality and our, what we do, right? And you put some kid in your home who you have no relationship with, what happens? Do you love them unconditionally? Not all the time.
No,
What about the
no,
stories when, for instance, if they want to put a child with a like paternal grandmother or maternal grandmother, but then they make these grandparents go through foster parent classes or get foster parent certified first, but then sometimes there's stories where they just automatically get placed with them. What makes the difference in when they enforce it and when they don't enforce it?
It's different random things.
Oh.
We have a kind of a new client in our office, maybe a week or two old, and the client had placed the children, was being investigated first by CPS. She placed the children with her parents, okay? And she was living in a totally different city. At the time, 3 hours away. Do you know that after the investigation was basically over, CPS decided to detain the children from the grandparents who
What?
were, who were, well, it's even worse than that. CPS decided to detain the kids from the mother, and a worker placed the children with the grandparents. Before we go to court, a few days goes by, and CPS comes out with the sheriffs and a social worker to take the kids away from the grandparents. They take the kids away and they stick them in a foster home, even though another social worker agreed that the children should be with the grandparents. We go to court, all right, and we focus on, at the first hearing, getting the kids back with the grandparents, all right? And for one of the, and well, it happens occasionally, the minor's attorney was apparently furious that they took the kids away from the grandparents for no really good reason. And the judge, in that case, did the right thing and put the kids back with the grandparents.
Jesus.
But here's the thing: the mother, and I might have mentioned this on on the show a couple days ago. The mother was completely distraught that the children had been taken away from the grandparents, and her comment was, "My baby won't sleep without her blankie," and they refused to take, the blankie with them. So
Jeez.
you think, what goes through these people's mind, and are they that, desensitized to the plight of a young child?
And they never did have a valid reason why they took them away from the grandparents?
I wasn't in court. One of my attorneys made the appearance. But whatever they said, the judge wasn't going for it. The judge immediately placed the children back. And apparently, I heard from the client today, apparently CPS is upset about this. They're upset with the judge's decision.
Are you
But
kidding?
yet they don't have a valid reason why they don't want the kids with the grandparents.
I don't know.
Message.
You talk to me like CPS has to do something rational or legal.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right. I mean, that's what you think. But I get all these calls and people come on these shows. We know CPS doesn't always act rational or legal. So why are you surprised?
Yeah.
Because the question,
just the realization, just to realize that the organization that's supposed to take care of our kids.
Did you watch the news today?
Mm-mm.
Fox, CNN, MSNBC, that new station, Newsmax or something like that. How many times do you see stuff on the news that's unfair? Every time you watch the news. That's what the news is made of, so that they can get good ratings. They don't show us good shit. They show us bad stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. They're either saying this politician is crooked or that politician is crooked. One's a
Right. So
Republican.
there you just said it. There you just said it. Why are they not saying CPSs?
Because, Darren, nobody knows about CPS. The people that watch this show, they're the minority number in this country. Nobody knows about CPS, and if they do, you know what people that are involved with CPS, they're child abusers. Who cares about them?
Right. Yeah. Pedophiles and all that every bad thing.
Yeah, because until you're involved with it, you're like every other parent. Like we all have admitted that we just think, oh, well, they must have done something wrong, you know? We don't even want to go and get involved with that because they must just already be, you know, troubled people.
Here's a question that I want to answer.
Oh, T-Patriot.
T-Patriot, Vince, why aren't you helping parents file class actions against CPS?
Because it's expensive.
I'm going to tell you, T-Parrot. Several years ago, the United States Supreme Court cut back on what type of cases can be a class action. In the old days, you know, if you just thought it was related, you could file a class action. It's not like that anymore. So that's number one. Number two, T-Parrot, I'm going to give you an example of how unbelievable expensive it is to file a class action lawsuit. Once you file the lawsuit, okay, you have to make a motion to certify it as a class action. All right. And when you do that, if it's granted, you have to then notice all of the people in this possible class. Now, how much do you think the notice costs? Okay. Let's say there's 1 million people in this possible class. Okay. You have to send a letter to all 1 million of them. Okay. And, you know, you got to print the letter on paper that costs money, right? Someone actually has to fold it, believe it or not, and put it in the envelope. That costs money. The envelope costs money. Then somebody's got to slap a stamp on the envelope. Postage costs money. So it's estimated in a case that I did know about that given notice, you know, someone has to put the mail on their back and carry it to the post office. Somebody's got to pay that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was about $1. I think it was $1.40 something. Let's say $1.50 to send out notice to 1 million people. T-Parrot or T-Patriot, how much is 1 million times $1.5?
Wow, I never thought of that. Wow.
$1,500,000. Now, T-Patriot, how many parents do you know that has $1.5 million just to start a class action lawsuit? You haven't won it yet, right? Forget about that. But you got to pony up 1.5 million at the beginning, which is real money. This isn't, we'll take it out of contingency fee, because the post office isn't going to say, oh, let me give you, you know, $300,000 in postage. We'll wait for you to win the case.
Wow. Gee
okay.
Whiz.
So now, T-Patriot, now you know one of the other reasons why, you know, civil class action lawsuits aren't the biggest. I know a lawyer, he's a very good civil rights lawyer who tried to bring a class action lawsuit on a CPS matter. And under the new law, the court said you can't be a class action. And you couldn't be a class action because one of the requirements is that you all have the same type of injury. All right. But you know, Deidre, when that social worker lied against you, and then another social worker lied against Darren, that's not the same injury. It's not even the same defendants. So you guys can't be a class action by definition.
Explain a little more.
Okay. Deidre was lied to by an Orange County social worker, or lied on. You were lied on by a Maine social worker. 2 different states, counties, different lies. Okay? Different social workers. Okay? So, in order to bring a class action, you'd have to have the same social worker telling the same lie
To the same
about
people.
about each parent.
Okay.
Now,
Wow.
so how are you ever going to meet that requirement? In the old days, you could just say, "Oh, I have a lying social worker." Doesn't
Right.
matter. And that was, oh yeah, it's okay for class action. But you see how the law is narrowing rights?
Yeah.
Think about you can narrow rights and you can expand rights.
Hmm.
So typically conservatives don't want people in court suing government and private businesses. They want to let the voters and the market persuade everyone. But here's the question. If you can't protect yourself against your own state or county government, who's going to protect you? In the old days, it was the federal government and all those damn liberals.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I find, which is just kind of ironic, a lot of conservatives, people with conservative backgrounds, are being abused by CPS. And the first thing they want to do is they want to sue the government. That's not true conservative philosophy. So the Supreme Court, and it wasn't a CPS case, has narrowed who or when you can have a class. And by the way, at the initial stage of the case, we talked about notice, but the initial stage of the case, there's a huge fight between lawyers about whether the class should be certified, okay, to move forward as a class action. So T-Patriot, it's easy to say, but damn hard to do and damn expensive to do. So that is why T-Patriot, Vince Davis doesn't spend time doing civil rights cases, then class action cases. Now, is there ever a time that I think I've run into a viable class action case? Yeah, there is. It's just that I didn't have the 1.5 million, sitting around to throw up in postage and letters.
Wow.
So anytime you get the 1.5 million that you can spend on postage and letters, let me know. We'll give it a shot.
Wow.
We'll
That's
give it
crazy.
a shot. And okay, here's another one that I always hear about. T-Patriot. What about RICO? What about RICO? Do you know
What's
what RICO is?
RICO?
Okay, Darren, do you know what RICO is?
I do.
Okay. RICO was a law invented to curb and stop racketeering, organized crime. Okay? And of course, those damn Democrats started applying RICO to everything
Uh-huh.
because people were getting screwed. And people have also tried to apply it to CPS organizations as racketeering.
Yep.
Guess what the courts have
Rightfully so.
Guess what the courts have said? No, 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 no. The RICO laws were never meant to prosecute CPS. They're not organized crime.
Wow.
Aaron, I'm talking about the conservative justices.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But you know better. If anything,
Wow.
if RICO should apply to anything, it should be applied to people who are lying in court.
All right.
Who admittedly lie in court. You saw that video on YouTube?
Yeah. So that's the
Literally
court
said,
say.
oh yeah, we did lie in court, Your Honors.
It's
But we
okay.
shouldn't be able to be sued because we're protecting kiddies.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta lie
Yeah.
to protect the kids.
That's crazy. This is crazy.
So
So
you
that's
see,
the number one argument about that?
well, yeah. You see the dynamic though? You know, you're always conservative until it affects you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You always want the state to step in until they prove you wrong, and then you're a federal guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We have two systems of justice, state and federal. The federal government, the federal system was developed to protect citizens from their own state. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Those damn liberals that invented the Constitution. Do you think they know what they were talking about or what they were doing? In my mind, Darren, and this is kind of a bastardized version, but in my mind, there is no difference in politics. We claim that there is. We believe that there is. We turn on TV and we believe that they're conservatives and they're liberals. But in my mind, they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
All the same. It's just, which one do you feel better using to promote your agenda?
Yeah. Oh.
And meanwhile, there's people, just regular people like Miss Payne, that, get involved with this and lose a kid or lose 3 kids. Can you imagine your government is taking away your child?
Right. Don't imagine it. It's happening.
If you like burn the kid or sodomize the kid or
right.
But that's not what people are losing their kids about. Oh, you didn't get anything out of counseling. Oh, you didn't finish your DV class. Oh, you tested positive 1 time in 12 months. Like, what? And you're going to lose your kid. And, a lot of people, I tell you guys this all the time, and I bet you guys fell into this group. When they took your kids, you didn't believe that you would never get them back. You didn't believe that. No. You thought our government was fair. You thought our government was just.
Yes,
you
sir.
thought the judge would do the right thing, despite the law.
No way this will happen.
Yeah, no way.
I don't even need to spend this money on Vince Davis because this American flag right here is going to show through and come and save Mr. Guay. Never happened.
No, I'm a religious guy. I'm a Christian. The other thing that I hear all the time is God won't let this happen to me. And my thought is always, well, sometimes God puts that test out there to test your faith. And we're going to test it by you losing your kid. Because people lose their kids every day, all across the country.
1 child a minute is the number.
I don't know if you guys can look into yourselves, but look, people that you know. Do you know anyone that really deserved to lose their kid? Now I'm thinking you could think of a scenario, but do you personally know anyone that really deserved to lose their kid permanently? Think about that. Drug addiction is a disease. Can I lose my kid because I have cancer? Some people have, anger management issues because their brain isn't wired the right way because of their environment. But we're going to take their kids away from them because we got to protect those kids.
I just think the worst part of it all is that time clock that they use. I don't feel like there should be any just time clock on a situation of losing your child, meaning if the parents are always consistently going in the right direction as far as getting somewhere or making some kind of progress, I just don't feel like that should ever be something that could be used against them as far as you've run out of time. Like,
You
I
know why
just,
there's a time period? Because
why?
the government doesn't want to pay for your services until you get your kids back. They're like saying, well, we got $1,000 to spend on you. If you don't do it within that $1,000, screw you. You lost your kid. Next.
Yeah.
And honestly, every individual that I come across in these cases, they're all different. Different backgrounds, different educations, different religious beliefs, different political beliefs, different issues with mommy, different issues with daddy, you know, different issues with what has happened tragically in their lives, sometime in their life. I about 3 or 4 months ago, I met a woman who was raped as an adult. She was a victim of a sexual crime. She never addressed it with anyone, but it had a significant impact on her, which had a significant impact on her kids and a significant impact of those around her. You never know what people are dealing with. You never know of the demons and the burdens that they are carrying. But should we be taking their kids away from them? That almost seems barbaric. It almost seems barbaric.
And just the fairness in the child itself, meaning here, my youngest that was basically taken away from birth and been with these stranger people its whole life, and then now is going to remain with them the rest of its life, but grow up and wonder possibly what did they do wrong as why they got taken away from their biological family, and now this poor child might suffer for the rest of its life for something that the child obviously didn't even do wrong, but no one seems to care to think about how it's affecting that child, but yet they think it's the best interest of the child. For what reason other than their fight against the
It's
time
only
clock and
it's only the best interest because we define best interest that way.
yeah.
What if we define best interest as always keeping the kid with the family, always returning the kid to one of the parents? What if we said that was the best interest? Then you know what? That's what they would be doing in court. But we don't define best interest like that. You think people are using the common sense version of best interest, and they're not. They're using the legal standard that was developed by the state. And that was developed because of economic reasons. The law doesn't say that we should have kids with, Father Knows Best from TV, right? We just want to make sure that the kids aren't being harmed. There are all kind of parents. I think I told you guys once I did a trial in CPS court, and my client, he was a little, for lack of a better word, strange. And the social workers were saying that he had a mental condition or an emotional condition that didn't allow him to care for the kid. And, on the witness stand, I got the social worker to admit she had no psychological or psychiatric training. So when she said he had a mental disorder, I got her to admit she didn't have the qualifications to even say that. And she said, and during the testimony, she said, well, he's weird. That was true. He was a weird dude. But in making the decision, the judge said, we don't take away kids because somebody's weird. We take away kids because they're a danger to the kid. And it turns out this dude was overly protective of his kid. He wasn't abusing the kid. He was just overly protective. Now, is that something that's going to affect the kid later? Yeah, probably. But we shouldn't be butting into that as a government to taking away his kid because he's weird. You know, which one of us doesn't have some type of mental or emotional deficit? I don't think you get to be a human being of a certain age without having that, suffering some type of trauma or PTSD, a death in the family, an illness, a traumatic event, going to fight a war, being robbed, being injured. You can have these issues for just normal life. But should we be spending money to take away kids? I think we should be spending money to keep kids together no matter what. That's a pretty liberal democratic view, though. We can't do that. We can't help families. The Supreme Court once said, families are the fabric of our society in America. Think about that for a moment. The country was built on this family value system. And even if you're not perfect, that doesn't mean we should tear apart your family. Which one of us grew up in a perfect family?
Yeah.
Nobody. Nobody. When I was growing up, there was an event that happened in my life. I was about 12 years old, maybe. And I got the shit beat out of me by my father. They took me to Kaiser Hospital. I told the doctor what happened. He just asked me what happened. And I told him, if CPS today, they would have removed me from my father, they would have put his ass in jail, right? I mean, this was a severe beating. Now, as I look back on it, had he not done that, I would either be dead on the street or in state prison.
So in a nutshell, you deserve the beating.
Yeah, basically. I did something. I won't tell you what it was. And he told me, go get the belt.
Oh, yes.
When I was about to get a whipping. And I thought, since I had been, had received some type of martial arts training as a kid, that I could take him. The one thing I forgot was I was a brown belt and he was a black belt. Because he was in the service. He was a military policeman. And I got the first lick in, it was a roundhouse kick. Boom. In the side of the head. Made him drop to one knee. After that, the beating was so bad that my grandfather had to go get his gun to threaten my father to get him off of me.
Ay, ay, ay.
That beating changed my life. And as he walked out the door, the front door, he turned around and he said to me, not jokingly, but he said to me, I brought you into this world and I'll take you out of this world. If you ever blah, blah, blah.
Hot damn.
Changed my life. I mean, I didn't suffer any. They thought I had a cracked rib, but I didn't get any. Nothing was broken or anything like that. I had bruises, facial injuries.
Wow.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not an advocate of physical abuse of a kid, but sometimes, in the right circumstance, shit happens.
Yeah. Life happens.
Yeah. But does that mean we need to take Vince away from his family?
Right.
Now, I was raised by my grandparents. My father had just come that day by the house, and my grandmother told him what I had done. And, he wasn't having it. So I didn't end up in state prison. I didn't end up dead on the street. Instead, I went to went to high school, did well, went to college, did well, went to law school. All because of what we now call physical child abuse.
What high school did you go to?
I went to a Catholic high school, a Catholic boys' high school called Loyola High School.
Okay, I went to St. Joseph's.
It's a
The
Jesuit
all
school.
girls. Mine was all girls Catholic in Lakewood.
Mine was all boys Catholic in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. St. John Bosco was our guy school.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
My
sister went to Rosary, and then their guy school was Servite, so their football team I think was really good too.
Except for ours was better.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh.
Okay, before we wrap up again tonight, you guys have any questions for me?
Not tonight.
No, sir.
Let's see if we have anything in the chat. I don't see anything. You know, most people are posting in the chat statements of, about their case. My question always is, okay, now, what are you going to do about it?
What you going to do about it?
I'll be outside court tomorrow promoting Mr. Davis.
You don't have to do that. They'll probably arrest you for trespassing.
At least there'll be a good lawyer in the courthouse that can represent him.
Deidre who?
Yeah. Actually, I think she has some other charges pending. We'll have to look into this.
Hey! Oh.
Hey, Grace, if you're listening, that
or Joyce.
Pair of people that were going to come on. See if you can call them and see if they will come on the show maybe tomorrow or later this week. They had an idea of how the show should be run, and when we didn't agree with it, they got upset and left.
Oh, what say you, Mr. Davis? What's your factor? What is it?
Not your tip.
Your tip of the day.
My tip, okay.
McDonald's is higher.
Don't disobey your father.
No, don't challenge your father to a physical.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no. Really.
My father, he was great, and but he'd always say, he had enough respect for my father that you never, I don't know if it just came from his mouth or how it came, but he always filled you with that. You don't ever challenge your father. You respect your father, and yeah, never ever would I have ever thought to. Now, we would go to some Patriots games, and in my older days, I won't say that we didn't have some wrestling matches that I wish I could take back, but because that kind of sticks in your head, that's your father, no matter how old, no matter how whatever, they'll still kick your ass. That's just the way that it was.
Did you ever get your black belt, Mr. Davis?
Never did. I discovered girls.
Uh-oh.
What do you do with them?
I'm 65 and I still don't know.
They sure do make good pie, though.
I was reminded of this rule today. I'm doing a case in a county outside of Los Angeles, and the social worker calls my guy because the judge has already said some things that look like he's leaning towards us. So they call my guy and they say, hey, we need to meet with you. And here's the carrot they held in front of his nose. We need to meet with you to check out your home before we give you the kid. So he tells them, yeah, I'll meet with you. He just happened to mention it to me in a text about something else. And I said, wait a minute, you're going to meet with the social worker without me? He goes, yeah, they're going to check me out and make sure that I'm okay to give me the kid. A couple problems with that. You don't have the burden to prove to the social worker that you should get the kid. They have the burden to prove that you shouldn't have the kid. Big difference. Huge difference. And I said, if you tell them that you won't meet with them, they'll say you're being cooperative and not recommend giving you the kid.
Yeah.
If you meet with them by yourself, they will gather evidence from your mouth to use against you and the mother in the case.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mr. Davis, what do I do? I said, you tell the social worker you can't meet with them unless I'm present on the phone or Zoom or in person. Apparently, they decided that an attorney could not be present. And then it was explained to the county council how that is a civil rights violation. The government agent refusing to meet with you unless you did it by yourself and not with your attorney. So then they decided, oh yeah, Mr. Davis can attend. But they would like to do the meeting with my guy without me there. Because then my guy will, he won't be corrected or protected. Right? Sometimes I go to these meetings and I just answer the questions for my client. Well, we wanted to know from him his, and I said, look, I represent him. This is what he would tell you. He doesn't have to tell you anything. We're meeting with you, so you can't say we don't cooperate. And if you really want to know something, go out to his house and take some pictures and show the judge what a great, home life he has. Anyway, somebody sent me something in the private chat. Oh, Grace noted.
Oh,
all right, we're way past time. CPS
So
Punisher.
what was your tip? What was your tip?
Don't do anything without him around.
Don't do social work without your lawyer.
Got it.
That listening thing. He just told us a 20-minute story about it.
CPS Punisher.
Hey, I got one of these counters every time we have a DJ moment.
God.
Oh,
great. Oh, great. Maybe it will dock you in the tube, whatever.
There we go.
What was the name of that thing again?
CPS Punisher, do you have any questions or comments?
Oh, man, I forgot to take that off for my other interview. I apologize for that. No. You know what? Your story was enough for me to end the night with that. You got it.
All right. Deidre Payne, who is now in the dark almost.
Yes, I know. It's dark out.
Any last minute or last questions or comments you have?
Don't lose your phone.
That's good advice.
First world problems.
Get the AARP around your neck device.
I'm going to send you that so you can order that from Amazon. All right, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
All right.